Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Weihrauch. And in today's episode, we're asking the question, will we grow old together? Growing old together is a popular kind of aspiration for married couples. It's one of the points of marriage, right? Is that you're committing your life to someone who will grow alongside you and be there for you in your weakest and most fragile and final state. There's something inspirational and romantic about a couple aging well together. But increasingly in our culture, marriage is kind of being thrown away. People are increasingly making the choice to cohabitate or to live together and without the covenant commitment of marriage. That's seen as a little out of date. By the way, we see this in overwhelming numbers with people kind of under the age of 40. More and more couples are choosing not to get married. And even if marriage is an eventual goal, they're seeing living together as a kind of trial period for whether or not marriage is a good idea. But it is not exclusive to the younger generation. In fact, right now in America, we are at a record high with something around 1.1 million people between the ages of 65 and 74 cohabitating with their partner and choosing not to marry them. And what's interesting about that is that it is causing a lot of problems. You see, marriage is not just a spiritual institution, although it is most fundamentally that. I mean, it came, according to Genesis 2, from God himself. It is God's idea. It is God's design, but it is also a societal function. When you marry someone, you are saying to the society at large in a permanent fashion, this person is connected to me. It opens up a lot of possibilities like filing a joint tax return or end-of-life decisions or inheritance, property sharing, financial sharing, information disclosing. There's a lot of like practical things that come out of the idea that you can say to and about another person, this is my committed lifelong partner. When you cohabitate, you are intentionally choosing not to say that. You are deciding you don't want to give it that level of scrutiny. The problem is, of course, that the government recognizes that and as a result refuses to violate your privacy. So as aging couples who live together navigate end-of-life decisions, care decisions, financial decisions, what they are increasingly finding is that actually that doesn't work with their living situation. That assisted living facilities or hospitals or financial planners cannot give the latitude to a person who's not your spouse. Because after all, you can't just go around saying you're someone's special person and that gets you access to their social security number or to their bank accounts for a whole host of pretty obvious reasons. But what's even more interesting than the logistical problems is that the aging people who are cohabitating are in fact saying they don't care. In fact, the article that I read in the New York Times had different people saying the whole reason I'm not married is I don't want to commit to caring for this person when they cannot care for themselves. If I marry them, I'm obligated to that. But if I don't marry them, I can simply move on. And this is bringing out something that I try to tell younger couples and now older couples who make the choice not to get married, but to cohabitate. You're making that choice for a reason. You see, God tells us that marriage is a husband and wife leaving their families and forming a new family. The Bible will say, what God has joined together, let no man separate. It's the idea that there's a covenanted commitment here, which means then we can begin to make decisions and plan assuming that that other person will be there, assuming that they are committed. That's what God is telling us, is that you actually need that assumption of commitment because life is going to throw you in some pretty difficult circumstances. But when couples make a choice not to get married, it's for a reason, either because they're keeping their options open, or because they're not sure about you, or because they don't know if they want the responsibility. And everyone assumes that's okay because the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next whatever is going to be disturbance free. I'll be healthy, so it won't matter that they don't want to take care of me. I'll make financially wise decisions, so it won't matter that they don't want to share money with me. I'm going to stay attractive and be interesting, so it doesn't matter that they're not sure they want to commit to me. But what these aging couples are finding out, and increasingly so are younger couples, is those reasons do matter. I mean, I've sat in my office before with couples that are refusing to get married, and I'll just ask this question: why aren't you getting married yet? And they'll say things like, I'm not sure if I trust her. I'm not sure if he's the best I can do. And what I'll say to them is, don't you see that the reason you shouldn't be committing to each other the way you are is not because you're breaking some biblical rule, but because the things you just said about each other are pretty awful. And you need to work through those before deciding if you want to commit to each other. This is yet another example that God's design is about leading us to what's best. God is not out to limit us, to keep us from happiness. God is providing a safe environment in which we can flourish. So if you're currently in a relationship, whether you're in your 60s or your 20s, and you're refusing to get married, ask yourself why. Why are you making that choice? Have you dealt with that reason? And then ask yourself, why am I finding it so hard to trust God? God, not you, knows what's best for your relationship. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. While you're here, we'd love to ask you to hit subscribe or to like so you get future content. If you listen to the audio version too, make sure you leave a review and a comment. That really helps. Consider sharing it on social media and helping us get the word out. And hey, while you're here, check out all the other content that Christ Community Chapel is putting out, including the videos that are around me right now.